Good.
Good morning, everyone. We'll call the CIC meeting to order. We're going to table our minutes till the January meeting and get right into our terminal expansion project updates. John,
Okay,
how
so
we doing?
we're doing good. We have the steel across Midway Point, and they're working. They moved the crane over to the terminal side, and they're working on installing the steel from the new mechanical rooms, working their way out, and they plan to they'll be in that position for the next 4 weeks. Their Midwestern is the installer, and they plan on being done by the second week in January.
So everything's going.
So everything's, as far as steel work, is going really well.
Oh,
moving
that's
forward.
great.
Once they get out of the way, then everybody else can come in and start doing what they need to do. But right now with the steel erection, you can't have anybody working underneath them or anything like that.
Right.
So they pretty much take priority.
And the lane changes are all.
The lane change is done for now. It'll stay that way till January. Then they walk the crane back across, and then at that point the crane will go back across, make a couple picks, and then be disassembled and taken out. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't busy right now, but it looks like it. I was here another day and it was busy and it looked like it was flowing very nicely. And
We survived the Thanksgiving weekend quite
Oh,
well,
that's right.
actually. Yeah, went through and went very well. The traffic flow was maintained well, and people got in and out with minor backups. Not too bad, so that's good.
so the plan worked.
It did.
That's good. That's great.
Good.
Oh, I'll interject for a second. We had our busiest day. Margaret can help me on the exact day that in recent memory, we think maybe of all time, 5,700 some employments. Was that the day?
That was Sunday.
Sunday.
This past
Sunday,
Sunday.
yes.
Wow. That's great. Congratulations.
Well, we're happy. It's a sign that COVID's over and the industry's doing well. It's on the
Right.
upswing, and we plan to take part in that. We're
Good.
hoping to, yeah.
That's great. Terrific. Any other overall updates for the project?
The steel is the big push right
Big
now. Get that done. As
okay.
soon as we can get that and the decking down, then we'll have all kinds of activities going on.
Can't wait. Let's hope the weather cooperates this winter. So far, so good, right?
So far.
Although Thursday was not Thanksgiving
Yeah.
day, but is that a very busy travel?
No.
Compared,
Yeah, no,
Wednesday's the
it's a slow
busiest?
day.
Thanksgiving itself is
Slowest
slow,
day.
yeah.
Because I have traveled years ago and it was very quiet on that day.
It was like a little over 2,000
Yeah,
passengers
2,000.
that day.
Right.
2,000, very low.
So the bad weather didn't really impact that. That's great. All right, John.
Okay, all the contracts have been awarded on the terminal expansion project. We did issue a purchase order to Quality Office Environments, and what we're looking to do now is to order the furniture. So as quickly as we can do that, it will benefit the opening of the business center, the sensory room, and the children's area. So I know those that are assigned to that are working diligently on getting that done.
Yes, and it's been a pleasure to be part of that. I've reported back to the board. Sam asked me to kind of cover on that. Be great, if possible, at our full board meeting to just show some
Okay.
pictures of, Kathy can share what she worked very hard on that. She's not here today, but I want to make sure to thank her. She did a great job.
Okay.
And
In addition, we plan on issuing a separate contract, John McLaren Company, to make provisions for the 7th lane. So that's going to need removal of a storage area, a lane for the people to exit. It does not impact the business center like we originally thought it would, but it will impact the retail concession area. So it's not major work. So we need to retain a designer to do that. And also we may use one of our term contracts. We have Greco right now on term.
With Greco, Duncan Cahill, and Roush Brothers, so we have options to use one of those to do the work.
And they're already under contract, under term contracts. And since it's small work, we may just give them that work. But we do need a layout to do, to advance it. We'll probably do that, we'll start that project probably in the next month or so. It's
Right.
nothing urgent because we have until September to get the work started of 25.
okay. Change orders, anything coming up?
Change orders, I'm working with Turner and MLB. We have a couple of meetings set up in the next couple of weeks. to hash through a bunch of different ones that we're looking at. So for the December board meeting, there will not be any
No,
change orders for
okay.
MLB.
Okay, so then probably January.
Definitely in January. There's some pluses and minuses, so we got to get them all put together. So make sure that we get as many credits out of it as we can, as well as
Of course.
the addition. So that's
Okay.
in January.
Perfect, thank you. Steve?
Thank you, Sari. In terms of communications, on the terminal expansion project, just keeping people informed about the steel work that's occurring. Right now, they're on the terminal side, as John alluded to, and the driving lanes have shifted. Put out a video just informing people about the lane shifts, as well as some of the changes inside the terminal. Concourse A, temporary walls are still up. There's some demo taking place, and the work is continuing on the ramp. I'm just letting people know that while it does look a little bit different over there, there's no impact at the gates or the bridges that people are getting on their flights for United and LBJ. Signage, continue to analyze signage to make sure people know where they're going. Pointer app clip is live. We're going to do a very slow rollout. Planning a press conference with the Pointer people in January, and working with Kathy Greenwood, just trying to figure out where we're going to put some signage that includes the QR code. This is the app clip that will help people through the terminal, but it also will allow them to do a pin drop where they park their car in the garage, so they can find it when they get back.
So is that something, Steve, when they pull into the garage to travel, that's when they drop the pin
So what you would do
and
is,
then travel?
what we're thinking is you would get out of your car, go to the nearest stairwell or elevator. There'll be a QR code. You'll open the app. There's a little car icon. You hit it. It'll drop. Then you go on your trip. You come back. And when you get back, you just hit the car icon again. It'll tell you, take me to my car, and it shows you where you are.
Because I'm that person that takes a picture of where I park my car and then
I do
I
too.
can find it.
I do too.
No
Smart.
matter how hard you try, it's hard.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, that's great.
In terms of earnest social media, again, staying consistent with the messaging. Biggest message over the last couple of weeks was the hallway downstairs on the top photo. Just let people know there might be periodic closures for pedestrian traffic as they do the steel that you see in the bottom photo. I'm told, and John can correct me, I'm told that might even stop today, that they're getting to a point where we won't have to really worry too much about that. But
This process worked very well, by the way. And the erectors worked with our traffic and did it at the slowest times. Yesterday morning, they were doing it
From
at
7:30 to 10:30.
7:30.
Yeah.
And through that corridor, there's not that many people going to baggage claim. So it went very well, the
Yeah,
whole process.
So they get to a point where they won't have to
Yes,
do that anymore? They
Yeah.
can work
They-
wherever.
they've
They'll be
completed
past
all
that
the
tunnel,
steel.
so they can keep working their way out. So.
Yeah, they completed the steel over that tunnel.
So that was a very short term.
Yeah.
That's great.
And in terms of traditional news media, a lot of talk about construction over the last few days. I did several interviews with news outlets about holiday travel, and of course, construction is a topic of discussion. So we're just able to reiterate some of our messaging through the news media. And then just keeping the websites up to date, both on the terminal expansion project and concourse.
Thank you, Steve. That's great. Yeah, I haven't seen, when I always read the comments, nothing's been negative, which is, I think people are adjusting to this is the new normal. So great job. Thank you. Steve?
Before we leave this, John, the drop off in the baggage is working out really well. I can see that. The only thing I've seen was where people, as they exit from the commercial line, it's a weird angle where you can't see anybody in the rear view side view mirrors.
I agree. We'll look at that, and I agree with you. Because it does say merge, but you can't see
You can't
very
see.
well looking back to the
Look at
right. Okay, we'll make a note of that.
I don't know if we shouldn't shut off that one lane or narrow it down.
Well, that lane really works when we have 3 or 4 flights coming back at one time
Okay.
and back, so it gives them but let us look at that with with John and our
We
traffic
should be able
engineers.
to draw that fence back a little bit. Once they move that crane back to the next position, we should be able to taper that in a little bit and give them a little better angle on that, which is what we originally planned to do.
When will that be? Because this is a battle we fought in the beginning, and we're still fighting it.
That should happen later this week, should be by the end of this week.
Well, I've got a question. Let me bring this up again. Let's go back. Are you talking as you go through the commercial lane, as you exit?
As you come out the other side.
Yes, okay.
Oh,
That's where he's
oh,
talking.
all right, that's the
And-
pinch point at the end.
And that we'll look at it with our traffic engineers because I agree with you.
Yeah. it's a
And-
tough
Especially
spot.
for those of us with not so good backs, you can't turn around and usually
Right.
see that lane.
Right.
We got
You
it.
can turn around and see the
I
baggage
know what you're
side.
saying, yeah.
But you
Where
can't
people
see
are
the
coming
lane.
for the pickup, I know what you're saying. We may have to put maybe one of those
Mirrors.
mirrors there.
Yeah,
I
maybe
had
mirror.
somebody the other day who didn't bother turning around at all.
Yeah,
And it was nearly in the.
Yeah, I know.
so we
It's
might
right
have
out
to
for
set one of
us.
those mirrors up where you can see like they do. You
All the
know,
way to the left.
You know how there's a, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
okay,
curved
now.
mirrors,
okay.
they help.
So
When you're
now
leaving
That way
that.
you wouldn't have to turn
people
your
are
head around
looking
and see what's
to
going on.
see-
Yeah.
Got it.
We'll look at that.
Whatever, I'll leave it up to you guys.
We've actually put those on the T hangers for the airplane, so we can do it for the cars too.
Very good. Anything else? All right, Terminal A. Matt, you're up.
Sorry. Terminal A is moving along pretty nicely. Phase 1, floors 1 and 2, they've completed removal of carpet, ceiling grid. Next week, they'll move on to sprinkler and HVAC ductwork. So we'll continue with that. On the outside, they've completed one pour for the apron. Second pour is scheduled for next Wednesday. Tomorrow, they're supposed to pour for the jet bridge foundation. And the only thing really, we're waiting for confirmation on the jet bridge. When they'll actually be in the delivery of it. That's kind of what,
Why,
and that will go pretty nicely.
why do they dig up about a 10-foot wide thing
That is
for
for,
the outer fence?
that's for the blast wall. Yeah, extend the blast wall for the two jet bridges.
Oh, that's what,
So that'll be.
oh, that's
the new-
actually
yeah, so
put
they
into the blast wall?
excavated that as well, and they're pouring that. So
Got it,
they only
okay.
poured one small
You
section.
need a pretty stout foundation when you got the jet blast hitting that blast wall. So it doesn't flip over, that deflects the blast, so it won't be blowing rocks and dirt and stuff out into the travel lanes, but between the garage and there. That way, you don't want rock things in your car, and you'll be coming like through it. So that's what the blast wall is for, to take that as a back, push the plate back.
So everything's going ahead. It seems like it's ahead of schedule.
They're moving well.
Wouldn't say anything.
Not ahead.
We won't say ahead, but we'll
I
say
didn't
they're
mean to
moving,
jinx
we'll say they're moving well.
Very good. No, it just seems to be going very smoothly. That's great. Other capital projects.
Okay. So the terminal elevator replacement, elevator number 11 is scheduled to begin in early January. That's the one in C Concourse. That'll begin then. Then behind that, elevator 9 will be delivered next, and that will be that's the one that takes you to lower B, to the pet relief area, and what's soon to be the child play area, so that'll work. And then we'll do elevator 10. And we're hoping that times out just about right, and I think it looks like it's going to, so that they can jump over and do the work with MLB as far as escalators and the new elevators there, start working on that. And then I'll get to take delivery on 1, 2, and 3, which are the other garage elevators. They're gonna be refitted. In the meantime, I've got an architect on board. We're gonna revamp elevator number 7, which is the one in the loading dock area.
That's
We're gonna
when
make-
we're going bigger. The
We're
one
going
that-
bigger, right?
Right.
So I just got the plans from Kone for their unit, what they're gonna upsize to, so now I gotta get an architect working on some of the facade and the building work around it to make it so it all fits in, so.
So it's not quite freight, but
It
it's
won't be a
much
freight elevator,
bigger
but
than.
It'll be big enough for a pallet jack with a pallet on it and a person to stand in it. And it'll have a 5,000-pound capacity, which freight elevators are generally 5,500. So we're not far off.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so it's pretty close.
And that'll be the last one. I
That'll
know
be the
we've been
last one.
talking about it.
Yeah,
That'll be the last
but it'll
part.
still be done before the end of next year. That'll
That's
be
great.
last, yeah,
Okay,
so that'll be good.
been talking about that elevator for a while.
We have. They've been looking for a freight elevator. It won't quite be, but it's pretty close, which is something, a lot better than we had.
Sure.
The next one, the air traffic control tower project. So I'm waiting on 2 motors, fan motors, and that Colette has ordered. They expect delivery of those hopefully next week. They'll put them in, we'll balance that, do a final walkthrough, and get this one off our list. This one will close out. Runway 119 and rehab and the South Perimeter Road, we actually have a early kickoff meeting with Callahan and their subcontractors. I have the threshold bar light plan, which we added on. I sent those to Callahan and their subs. They're looking at them. We're gonna meet with them and discuss what we need to do with that, to keep that going forward, and also, work with Callahan to get the schedule the way we want. We notified the airlines. Our commercial airlines have been looking for our window of time. We're basically looking at the day after Memorial Day to June 12th, somewhere in there. We'll pick a 7-day. We're hoping to pick the 7-day window to shut the runway down and come in and just fill it, and pave it, and be done.
And we've talked about it a lot, and Janet being a pilot knows more about this, but how does that impact your flights and the sizes? I mean, I know you all know what you're doing. I'm just curious about
It
how it impacts the
it
schedule.
impacts the commercial airlines because the crosswind runway 10-8 is shorter. The declared takeoff distance is shorter, so they have to adjust the number of passengers. They'll have to undersell some tickets or freight or whatever to get the weight down so they can use that length runway. It's a 7,200 foot declared length takeoff, where 119 is an 8,500 foot declared length takeoff. So they
adjust back how they come to this
how they
area,
sell the
how they
tickets and
land.
how they get there, right? And
Okay.
that's why they were looking for us to give a window. That's the best of, I mean, I'm guessing what the weather's gonna be, so we're looking for a 7-day window. But that's why they're worried about the window, because they're affected with the amount of tickets they sell and how they load the planes.
And does that impact, do we compensate airlines for anything like that? They just plan around
They
it?
plan around it, yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you. Jet Bridges.
The jet bridges, so I have, I've been working with BRH, who's the contractor on that. They have confirmation that A6 will be delivered in March. They will do that install, and then B6 will be right behind it. And they'll do that one, and as it works out, AOW is buying the same jet bridges. They're coming from Oshkosh/JBT. It used to be JBT. They got bought out, and their install contractor is lo and behold BRH. So it'll be nice. They'll be here, and I'm hoping that helps speed up the process, and then we can go right to those and get those done right afterwards. So that'd be nice transition. We can get them all done, and we'll be done with jet bridges.
Very good. Our list will get shorter, and then we'll add stuff to it and
We'll
it'll
add
get longer. Car rental.
Car rental agencies. We understand that the car rental agencies want to expand their space, and they've had a request in for many years, let's say 10 years. And the issue is the footprint on the first floor of the garage where we have short-term parking, and they want to move short-term parking out and take over more space. So we agreed to do a study to look at this. Now, what John and I and the company are looking to do is to defer this until the summer, because right now we have so much construction going on in that area that we can't really make any changes. And what we'll do is work with the rental agencies and see what their contribution is going to be, because they'll pay it with these, what they call these CFCs on every transaction. So we'll establish a budget and we'll look at what we can do, but our early recommendations are not to give up short-term parking, but then that's something that has to be discussed, and we have to come to consensus on how the airport wants to address their request and need for additional space.
Because we always talk about needing parking.
Right.
So,
Right. And what they're confronted with is running the cars back and forth more frequently. And we know that there's a continuous stream from the parking, the rental car areas over on Albany Shaker Road. It just goes back. They have drivers that go back and forth all day long. So they're trying to reduce the number of trips. But it competes with our desire for additional parking. So once again, we like to defer this till summer. When we have more time.
Yeah.
And we can see how the
More
front of the
time,
terminal is
less
shaping up.
activity.
how do other airports, I mean, I've been at much bigger airports and you have to go somewhere else for a rental car. So is it terribly out of the ordinary that they have to have somebody running all day long?
No,
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no.
It's interesting.
Actually, it's for our customers, it's convenient because we do have a substantial location. So our customers don't know that they're running the cars. When they go to the booth right in the garage.
Oh, I see. So it's easier for the
Yeah,
customer closer versus having to
Right.
take a,
And of course, they want covered space. I mean, we could give them space, but they want covered. So they don't have to clean the cars and it's,
Oh, I
customers inside. And they even want to move their, where their booths are inside the baggage claim. They would like to have an office complex outside. And so that the customer just goes there. It's like one-stop shopping. You go there, you get your car versus
which
having,
is,
you know,
makes it further away from the
baggage
customer.
claim, garage, and then rent the car. So there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of studying that we need to do. We'll get there, but we'd like to defer it until
Yeah,
we have
that
the
makes sense.
opportunity to spend more time on it.
I would think the customer would prefer to go right inside the way it is.
Yeah,
I
oh,
would
yeah.
say, I mean, it would make sense that would be the customer preference. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. John, any
Mausers.
updates?
Yeah. A small one. Connor and I we still keep contact with the FAA to, if we can get the sooner than later. In the meantime, I spoke with the local tech ops for the FAA. One of their current towers is in need of some serious repair, so I'm helping them shop out some parts that they're going to need to fix it so we can keep it up and running. If it doesn't stay up and running, we lose our Category 2 capabilities, which means in low visibility we can't take the plane. So I'm working with them to help them get the parts, round up parts that they need, and they so we can keep it up and running.
Oh, that's great. Eager to hear how that works out. Thank you. The lights, come on. Anyway, Transformer.
Transformer, National Grid completed their design, they provided their cost proposal to us, which will be a board item after the New Year sometime. We plan on going out to bid early next year sometime. Right now, CHA has to complete the design now that they got National Grid's. Their design's finalized, so we're just waiting on that.
So for Monday, there's nothing new
Nothing for Monday.
and we said no change. Okay, that's easy enough. Good. Anything on planning updates, which we,
Well, Connor and I are doing that plan in between everything else.
Yeah.
But we'll get together soon, maybe December, Monday's meeting or January's meeting to have a presentation on the master plan and what we see, what the more immediate projects will be versus ones that get deferred for a decade or more.
sure,
We'll get together and have something soon.
great. And anything on the, nice,
No large updates on the geothermal. We're still at 30% design, trying to work with NYSERDA to hone in the design services after the exploratory work. I know Matt and John have been working with them on the Warfield location and how that's going to be situated. So we're still doing that, sorting out with the design team at NYSERDA. So.
thank you. Any other updates, Steve?
I only have one other question about the main terminal expansion. Are we do we need to be having updates on the time frame of completion?
Well, we're following the 5-phase plan, and we're starting construction on the 3 areas for the first phase, whereby they've got all the submittals in, they got the materials in, they got the labor ready to go. So they're gonna start working on that. Furniture will follow, and some of the artwork. The second phase, we're working on, basically that's the canopy. They're working on that. Glass is going to be released. So and everything seems to be pretty well on
We're on track.
schedule. I don't know what else, I mean,
That's all you're
do you
gonna
want
say.
a detail, more detail? I mean,
That's all you
No,
gotta
it's
say,
great.
John.
and John and I just had a conference call with the TSA on the 7th lane. We need to get them, the drawings together on that. They're committing to supplying that 7th lane equipment. We talked about the move come September of 25. They're ready to install the equipment. And then the last phase is when we remove the two existing escalators. And that is probably gonna be a 4 to 6 month affair to demo the escalators, do the floor over, set the steel, do the floor, pour the concrete, and we can move those last lanes forward. But things, we meet every day.
Every
In some
day.
capacity. on
Every
these
day.
projects on schedule and, changes and things we're trying to implement to get the project.
But right
moving.
now, we're hitting the phase of time schedule, we're hitting.
That's great news, and I thank you, Steve, because that'd be great for the board to hear on Monday too, that we appreciate the rephasing plan and it's going well, that's good news. Great, thank you. Anything else?
One other thing.
Yeah.
Should we not just have the minutes approved on Monday? Because very rarely you're gonna see a quorum.
Well, yeah, we can talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, we can table it for now, it's fine.
Yep.
You want to have a meeting Monday before the regular meeting? Is that what you're saying, or no? And do the minutes? I didn't know, I just
don't
want
know
to
if we can do the minutes during the regular meeting.
I think, having been a parliamentarian, I think you need to call a meeting of this
Yeah.
committee.
I
Which
think
we
we
could
can wait
do.
till January.
Yeah.
We'll wait,
We'll
Okay.
wait till
because I won't
January.
be here in January, so we'll wait.
Yeah, we'll wait till January. I'll, anything else? We'll call to adjourn. Thank you. Thanks, everyone, appreciate it. Yeah,